Welcome back. I decided to cut the video short on the other one, and I'm going to pick up on page 234, finishing up until just before we get to forms. I wanted to keep it under 20 minutes, and there's just no way that I could do it any other way. So right now we're on page 234, and it wants us to apply classes to unlinked files. And we're kind of going and doing step 2 before we're doing step 1. We're creating the class, and it's actually going to have no effect because there's no class that we've applied it to. So if you recall that every time you apply a class, there's a class that's been defined in the CSS Designer in one of the source files, the CSS files. So here we don't have anything applied to it. So let's go into Weekly Update and a Look in Code view, and you'll see that there's no CSS source file applied to it. So we're going to be in Live, and we're going to click over here. We're going to click on the image, and we're going to add a class like we did before. But as soon as I hit the period, not a thing happens. So I'm going to put in image 150 px. There, nothing's going to happen. And then it's going to say, what is this? So it's going to ask us, what do we want to do? Do we want to define it in a page? Do we want to create a new file? We actually have a file with it in there, but we're not going to utilize it, so we hit the escape key. So now we're going to do the same exact thing over here. .image 150 px and escape. Click over here. .image 150 px. In case you want to know why I'm not doing what I did before and copying in code view, is because there's only 4 of them. Okay, now spelling does count. So let's go into code view, and you can see we have it in here, class, so on and so forth. Okay, so that takes care of everything in number 5. Now, if you notice, number 6 tells me to do the same thing before. However, I'm not going to do that, and then I'm going to go back and do it just to show you the difference over here. So we would need to put the image float right class on the 2nd and 4th images. We'll go back and do that. I just want to show you that you can do it afterwards. So if things don't work out the way the book says, what you need to do is go back and say, did I miss a step? So if you're going to ask me, do I miss steps when I do the book? Yes, I do. So don't you worry about it if you do it. Just go back, say, did I miss a step? Fine. And also, if things don't work out, look to make sure that you're putting something before a bracket that is supposed to be, not after. It's so easy to look at the book and read something and go, oh, now I see what happened. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually insert one HTML page in another through what is called an iframe. Now, if you recall that I told you when you attach a CSS file, you have 2 options, link and import, and I said always choose link. The difference between link and import is import actually takes the CSS file and puts it into the code. I don't know if I said link or import, but import is the one that actually does it. Link just says, okay, look at this file, so we don't need to have it. If you have 50 files and you import a huge file, you're going to import that huge file into 50 different files. So there's really no reason to do that. So let's just take this section over here and say, well, we're only doing this into one file, and this is every time we make a change in the other file, we want to update our main file. And that's done all the time. You go into MSN or wherever you go to, and you see things constantly changing. Well, they're not updating the main page. They're updating a page that the main page is constantly using. So we're going to update Cupcakes Weekly. So we'll go to Files, and we'll click on Cupcakes Weekly, which is here. And it's a nice file, but it really doesn't have anything in here. So you notice we have H1 tag here. We have a paragraph tag here. So all these different things are at our disposal because we're in live view. So let me take you to number 2. We're going to select a paragraph after the flavors of the week. So this is here. Remember, the easiest way to select a paragraph is just to click on it, and you can see it's already selected. We're going to go to Insert, and we're going to find iframe, which is all the way down at the bottom. And yes, I know they're not in alphabetical order, but they're kind of in different sections that are grouped together. Although iframe and horizontal rule really are not the same. So let's click on iframe, and then it's going to say, where do you want it? We want it after the tag. So now we have this thing, and yes, it's short. So we're going to fix that later on. So let's go into code view, and you can see we have iframe, and then we have a closing iframe. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click right after the E and just before the bracket. Going to hit the space, and then it's going to bring up our code hints. If you do not get the code hints, you're probably hitting it after the bracket. So I'm going to type in src, their source, and we're going to browse. And then we're going to find the file over here that we want to do, which is weekly update. Click on OK. And you notice that it says source equals weekly update, just like the image. So now let's go into live view and see what we have. Okay, well, we have this nice thing over here with the file. Very simple. So that takes care of up to number 7. Now we're going to go to number 8. We're actually going to update the CSS for the iframe right within the document. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the CSS designer panel for this one here. And we're going to define a new tag. And we're going to create a selector called iframe. And let's just type in iframe. And boom. Let's get rid of the show set. And we're going to make the width 560 and the height 500. Okay, now that looks a little nicer in there. So now we're going to, let's save this. And one of the things that I want you to realize is I'm reading number 9. The source page in the iframe is not linked to any style sheet. So that you're going to want to do some of the attributes applied to the embedded page, such as background image, overall body, blah, blah, blah. Instead, you're going to actually link the update page to the second one. And you'll see that in a second. So we're going to open weekly update over here, which we've done. And we're going to add the source button and choose attach CSS file. This is the Cupcakes Weekly, which we attached, and here's the weekly update. So now what we're going to do is we're going to attach. Notice it has nothing up here, so we're going to do source. We're going to attach an existing style sheet. We're going to browse, and we're going to look for something that says Styles Weekly, which is right here. Click on OK. And then we're going to click on OK. And boom. Now we have all these things nice and neat. So now we're going to click on the link option over here, the weekly update, and we're going to save. Now, notice these things are not working. So here's an adventure way for you to do. So the answer is very simple. We created an image that was named wrong. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to name this image here. I'm going to rename it. And let's make it PX. And now we're done. That takes care of that. So now we didn't do what we were supposed to do before. So now we can add that second image. So let's go here and let's do image, float right. And let's do image, float right. Let's save everything. And we are now, let's save it, and we're going to turn that. We're going to go to number 14, custom week. Now, sometimes you have to get out of live view and then go back on. When you go out of live view and design, this gets awful ugly. If you like gray, then this was for you. So let's go back to live, and now you can see that it's taken. So we're going to close all files, and that's it. So we'll pick up on page 240, creating online forms, which are really a lot easier to do than they sound. So everybody have a wonderful day.